Democrat socialists love talking about democracy, even though they couldn't care less about your freedom. We talk about this a lot. They have a well-heeled political ecosystem that is driving the culture of death, the trans agenda, the crime wave, the border invasion, the welfare state, and, of course, divisive ideologies like diversity, equity, and inclusion, all to upend the norms that have made this country strong and free. Now, this ecosystem is full tilt, mobilizing millions of dollars against former President Donald Trump through lawsuits that charge that he should be denied access to the ballot in more than a dozen states, including Colorado and Michigan, we've been talking about this week. This political ecosystem driving these nonsense 14th Amendment lawsuits is perpetrating a fraud against the people of this country in two principal ways. First, the organizations spending these millions to fund these lawsuits claim to be nonpartisan, nonprofit public charities, but they are anything but nonpartisan. They're arguably breaking the tax laws, not that anybody in Washington seems to care about that. The Colorado lawsuit was supported by a leftist organization called CREW. Now, CREW has been supported by, well, listen to their founder.
Who are some of the biggest donors you have, and is there a restriction on how much money they can give you?
We don't have any restriction, but I would say our biggest donors are, for example, the Open Society Institute is a very big donor.
And whose organization is that?
Well, it's a foundation, but it's well known to be George Soros is the one who funds it.
That's right. They've taken more than $500,000 from the Soros Open Society Foundation. One of the attorneys against the former president, Mario Nicolaides, is also, not surprisingly, a Colorado Democrat Party operative of Longstead, who also used to be the general counsel, you'll find this interesting, for a group that promoted COVID testing and pushed COVID vaccinations. A group really proud of their average testing result turnaround time of 36.5 hours. The Michigan lawsuit was funded by an organization called Free Speech for People, as opposed to dogs, I guess. This group, founded during the early days of the Obama administration, is chock full of left-wing Democrat activists. They claim to be, quote, a catalyzing leader in the country, challenging big money in politics, confronting corruption in government, fighting for free and fair elections, and advancing a new jurisprudence grounded in the promises of political equality and democratic self-government. They hit every possible buzzword in that meaningless mission statement to cover up the fact that they are a bunch of leftist activists pushing the Democrats' political agenda. The group's legal director is a frequent MSDNC pundit and the author of, wait for it, The Constitution Demands It, the case for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Their director of development, Lisa Chang, proudly claims that she has over 15 years of experience as an anti-racism facilitator. So that's right. She's one of these people who makes a living telling white people that they're racists. The campaign director, she used to be the executive director of another one of these faux nonprofits called By the People, a so-called pro-democracy grassroots campaign that organized to impeach and remove Donald Trump from office. Alexandra Flores Quilty is a veteran community organizer who worked with socialist Bernie Sanders to introduce federal legislation for so-called free college for you and me to pay for. So you have these phony nonprofits working allegedly to protect democracy, right? And nobody's doing anything about that, but it gets even worse. This legal assault isn't just about Trump. It's not even about winning in the courts. The agenda here is much larger and much more devious and insidious. The Democrat socialists who are behind these lawsuits are attacking our entire political system. Remember, for as much as folks on the left love to talk about democracy and freedom and rights, their real objective is the expansion of state power. And how do you do that? You erode confidence in our political system generally, and that's what they're doing. We know socialists are doing this in our schools and our universities. We know that the left-wing corporate media is complicit in it as well. Now, by attacking a former president in this way, the leading candidate for his party's nomination for re-election, the leftist political ecosystem is training its organizing and dollars to diminish every American's faith in our democratic process. Think about it. They know they're likely going to fail in these legal efforts, but they don't care. For the left, it's about the long game. It's about making the cultural changes in the way that people think about politics, governance, and in America itself. The lawsuits allow their parrots in the biased press the opportunity to remind everyone about the January 6th riot. If they lose in the courts and Trump is reelected, they will have fodder right out of the gate to drive their narrative that he is an illegitimate president. It worked before. Expect them to try it again. If they win in a couple of places like Colorado and it gets overturned, it allows them to then attack the Supreme Court, a new favorite pastime for the left. Again, they want to attack the entire system.